Lafayette Councilwoman Liz Webb Hebert joining us. Thank you for doing this.
Of course. Glad to be here.
So, Liz, tell us a little bit about, kind of like who's your mom and them and where you grew up and all that kind of stuff. So tell us a little bit. Have you always lived in Lafayette, for example?
I grew up in Karen Crow, actually, on the north side of town. I grew up out there. My parents are actually not from here. My mom's from England. My dad's from Ohio.
Okay.
So I don't have, that family tie of your mom and them kind of tie. I try to, but so no, I didn't grow up with the grandma and grandpa here, cousins here. So I have 4 older brothers. I'm the baby and only girl.
Wow.
So if that tells you anything, I'm sure that explains a lot to people.
Yes, but it does. That's awesome. You have almost a whole basketball team willing to go to bat for you.
And that's pretty much what we did. I came from a very athletic family. My dad used to actually be a coach when Fatima was a high school. Yeah. So, we everyone still calls him Coach Webb. And, I definitely get my leadership and independence from my mom, who's my best friend, love her so much. My dad has been an entrepreneur, owned his own oil field company for 30-something years. He just recently retired. So, I came from good people, my older brothers were very fiercely overprotective.
That's
awesome.
Like
every older brother,
supposed to be.
Right? So it's funny whenever I was running for office and walking door to door, people would say, can you handle being around all those men? And I'm going, yes. I had to fight for the bathroom, But no, they great older brothers, love them. Most of them don't live here. So unfortunately, they're all kind of spread out around. One does live here. So, but they come in for the holidays, and so that's nice. We still get to reconnect.
So you grew up in Karen Crow. So were you born in Karen Crow?
Yeah. I went to Karen Crow Catholic, Karen Crow Middle, then I went to Turlings Catholic, and then ran away to college at Northwestern State. Like everyone does, they want to run away and go, I ran away 2 hours, but.
So was it hard on you not having a mom and dad that were from this area? We're kind of an insulated group of people a little bit.
Right. Yes and no. I mean, my parents did such a great job, connecting within the community, so it almost felt like they were from here. But it was great because I got to, travel a lot whenever I was younger. And that was kind of instilled in me, whether we were going to see my family in England or family in Ohio, Michigan area. So, I was a little bit more exposed to those worlds rather than like the South Louisiana world, which, I kind of came exposed to on my own. So,
But it's such a great community here.
It is, so
wonderful.
I guess that's maybe why I didn't feel this divide, is that everyone is so welcoming and so kind. So,
So what was it like for you in that family? You have 4 older brothers, right? So you have that situation, but you're also unique. You're the only girl, like you said, and you're the baby of the family.
Right.
So what was that experience like?
I was a major tomboy growing up. Loved sports, major tomboy. Yeah, so I grew up, I guess as an 80s kid, you leave in the morning on your bike and you terrorize the neighborhood on your bike with your neighborhood friends. My older brother, who's 18 months older than me, so we were very close in age. So we would terrorize the neighborhood with our neighborhood friends and play baseball, basketball, soccer, you name it, we played it, or swim, My parents had a pool, so it was one of those. Everyone hung out at our house.
I was going to say, everybody's like, okay, what's happening?
Yes.
At the Webb home, because they have a pool.
Right. And so my mom was a stay-at-home mom, so she was able to keep tabs on everyone, make sure, even though we thought she wasn't keeping an eye, she was obviously keeping an eye, So everyone hung out at our house, but all the parents knew that, Ann Webb's got her eye on everyone.
She's watching out.
She's watching out.
She's the mom that also had the eyeballs in the back of her head.
Absolutely.
Like mine. Yep.
Absolutely. So she has her finger on the pulse, that's for sure. So I had a great childhood. Older brothers who were fiercely protective of me. So they taught me to be tough.
Yeah.
You can't go crying kind of thing. So I just had built-in best friends,
Wow.
So very lucky. And so being the only girl, I have a unique relationship with my mom.
I would imagine.
We were best friends. So just from that.
Okay. So did you have your teenage years mostly in the 80s?
Yes and no. I mean, my mom says my 8th grade year was probably the rough year. That's when I'm rebelling, But really it was just pretty tame.
Did you have big hair?
No, I did not have big hair.
I am so proud of you.
No, I had the super, super thin eyebrows. Like I think I was that 90s, like really thin, pencil thin eyebrows, but shame on me. But I should have just embraced the Brooke Shields look a bit more.
Yeah, but it's okay because you're Brooke Shields, right?
Right. So now, well, okay. Who cares? Well, now it's cool, but in the 90s, it wasn't cool. So, so I guess that's my big rebellion.
Wow. So what do you think was different when you did kind of run away to college? What did you find different with that experience versus maybe here?
I think it was definitely 2 hours away. I was able to be my own person. We didn't know anyone going to Northwestern. My older brother went up there, so I kind of followed along behind him. So I wasn't surrounded by everyone I went to high school with. You know, I had one best friend who came with me. She lived with me. But other than that, it was I didn't know anyone. No one knew me.
It's a whole new world.
It's a whole new world. I'm far enough away from mom and dad where they can't just show up at my door. But yet I'm not too far to where I can't call my mom crying that
and go home.
A boy broke my heart.
Right.
And so she can't come running up there.
Yeah.
So, but no, I had a great experience. Northwestern was such a great school. It's a beautiful campus, beautiful community. It's definitely a college town. I rushed a sorority and had a great experience. I was really involved in that and, just made some lifelong friends.
Wow. Okay, so what sorority was it?
I was a Tri Sigma.
Okay.
Or I am a Tri Sigma.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true. Right. That's a lifelong affiliation.
It is. It definitely taught me leadership, how to get along with others, how to be, the importance of being involved and engaged. And I had a great experience. It was fun, good people.
Awesome. I am curious, then at some point, you meet Mr. Wonderful, Aaron.
Yes.
So share with us a little bit about that. So
Sweet
did he
Aaron.
sweep you off your feet? Did you sweep him off his feet?
I guess it was a little bit of both, right? It was a blind date. It wasn't until I didn't meet him till I was in my late 20s, actually. He blind dates. Someone set us up. You always Facebook stalk before the date, right?
Sure.
You never
yes,
go into that truly blind.
I love it.
Right. And I saw that he was good looking, so I said, okay, I'll do this. And I think we maybe had 4 friends in common in Facebook, which in Lafayette is.
How
does that
wait
happen?
A minute. How does that happen? That's a good point, Liz.
But no, we went to Italian Market.
Ooh.
Yeah, back when remember how good Italian Market was?
And indeed.
We had the best time. We just couldn't stop talking. We had so much in common, yet so many things not in common.
How amazing.
Right. And so he's a great guy. I brag about him all the time because it's impossible not to love him.
Okay, so you guys get married.
We do.
All right. Life is going great.
Right.
And then you decide, I'm going to mess it all up.
Right.
And become a public official.
Right.
Of course, I am teasing a little bit, but all right. So we're going to find out a little bit more about that, kind of what motivated that, all of that and more with Liz Webb Hebert on the way. We are chatting with Liz Webb Hebert, Councilwoman 8, District 8, that
District
is.
8.
Yes, she joins us on the show. And, when I asked her to do this, I was so excited that you said yes, number one. Because you never know how people are going to react to, wait a minute, what do you mean I want you to tell them, my stories and about my life? And I just love that people are willing to do this and be open and, talk about what really is their passions and what's, kind of motivating them, what goes on behind the scenes.
Right.
So this is a great opportunity. So, Mr. Wonderful, you guys get married.
We do. We do.
So you and Aaron are in this wedded bliss. Now, at some point, you decided that you wanted to take public service to a different level. So what was it? Was it a group of friends? Was it you deciding, I'm really taking a look at what's happening in the community? How did you come to the decision of, I want to run and be a Lafayette City Parish Councilwoman?
Well, he's always, first, let me say full disclosure. He always knew this was my interest, right? So nothing was popped in. No, I'm kidding. He's always known my type A personality, my get involved, take charge personality. And I think he loves that part, but not always. But he always knew my intention was to eventually run for local government. I've never had an interest in running for state or federal or anything like that. But, I want to make my community better. And, but we always fear to be way further down the line. And I guess with this election cycle coming up, I was approached by mentors and people I love and respect in the community saying, this is why you need to run, because this is the time, a new council, a new mayor, you know, you really should. And, you know, I said, well, I don't think I'm ready. I don't know. You know, I'm so young. I was 33 when I ran. And I was like, I don't know. You know, maybe later. And so I kept saying no.
Right.
And then I remember having a meeting with somebody and well, two people, and they said, you know, why not now? Why not this moment here? You know, what are you waiting on? What kind of experience are you waiting on? What are your fears? You know, because I think we all let our fears sometimes hold us back.
Yeah.
And so I did it. I just said yes. You know, you just finally say yes.
So you finally say yes, but then, wow.
Right.
You have to jump into campaigns and reports on the finances. And then there are, we go to this meeting and that meeting, and there's this debate and this forum.
Right.
Tell me, was it what you thought it would be in the election process?
Yes and no. I mean, I think it was a lot more emotional of a process. It wasn't, my biggest fear was it being an ugly, negative campaign. You know, you always hear, especially in the higher levels, sometimes on the local level, we've seen just this,
the
you know,
ugliness.
The lies, not that I certainly don't have anything to hide. I'm an open book. You know, my family's an open book. My husband is an open book. My in-laws are great, you know, so there wasn't necessarily, I wasn't anything scared of coming out. It was just the lies, you know, or someone attacking my family or someone attacking my husband.
Yes.
You know, and he was my biggest champion, you know, and I always tell people you cannot run for office unless you have the support of your spouse and your family 110%.
Because they are there with you. It's like they're
it's a
running
roller
for office
coaster.
too.
They are, you know, the day.
It puts your whole life on display, right?
You do, you know, and your life gets put on hold because this is now the focus of your life, right? And he was certainly there because we knocked on every single door in my district of every voter in my district.
Every single door. Okay, let me ask you, as a woman, this is completely irrelevant, but I'm dying to know because I love shoes.
Yes.
Is there a particular brand knocking on every door? My goodness.
Yes. Well, so it's funny you say that. Is I bought a pair of like the low top Converse.
Yeah.
The red, white, and blue.
Yeah.
And I said, these are going to be my walking shoes. And bought them brand new, and now they're so beat up. So I still keep them as just a memory, you know, because it was such a great time. You know,
So what was that experience like door to door?
It was tough.
I would imagine.
But it was so great because, you know, that's the only way you can get to know what people are thinking. Like you can think you know what they're thinking. You know, you can see the polls and you can see the news. You can. But what's so-and-so at 100 Main Street thinking?
What's really important to them?
What's important to them, right? And so I think that was my favorite part in like seeing the houses, getting renovation ideas, you know, home decor ideas, meeting people. You know, there was one house, a woman whose dog just had puppies, so I got to play with puppies.
Wow.
You know, I mean, you wouldn't believe.
You're taking part in their lives,
right?
Too.
So I think it was my favorite part, but it was the toughest because, you know, we have 25,000 people in my district, so it was tough to hit every single door. But we did it. I mean, my husband and I did it Monday to Friday, just he and I. After work, we would just there was a point where we didn't exchange words. We would just change out of our work clothes and then get in the car and walk till dark.
How did that, let me ask you, Liz, the sheer responsibility of doing that and the actual physical nature of that?
Well, it was the best. Like, if you're thinking of trying to lose weight,
I should do it, huh?
I'm telling you,
I knew it.
It was the best weight loss plan I've ever been between the nerves and the walking every day, you know? No, but it was great because I got to meet some of the nicest people, find out what truly were the issues. So when I went to these, you know, debates or forums, I was more informed because I was able to say, so-and-so, you know, we think this is how people think, but I'm telling you, the people who are dealing with XYZ think this. So I already had that personal, person-to-person constituent experience
with them.
Right.
Now, who else made up your support team? I mean, obviously, Aaron and your family and his family.
Right.
But do you have a core group of friends that were there for you too?
One of the best pieces of advice I got was to have a team in place. You know, you cannot do it all. As much as I like to think my type A person, I can. You can. And, you know, I kind of felt a little silly at first coming in with a team on a local government campaign. But, I had a walking chairman who was fantastic. I had a sign chairman who was, the moment somebody would say yes to, so generously putting a sign in their yard, the sign was there 10 minutes later.
Wow.
Because I can't go back and do it after I've just walked miles. Right? You have all these people who are in charge of all this, and my husband has a background in media buying and things like that, and logo design and marketing. So he kind of took all that on, So he wore many hats throughout my campaign. But I had brothers who flew in to come, and two of my brothers flew in to come walk door to door with me.
Wow.
And they were so excited to play a part in it. My parents did it. My in-laws did it. Every weekend it was people just taking time out of their Saturday morning or Sunday morning to from their family and their friends and their errands to come be with me.
Did it feel like, okay, so now then, we go to, okay, now I'm in a runoff. Did you feel as if the weight of the world was kind of on you a little bit?
I think the nerves, it truly got down to the minute of the day. If I felt like I was going to win outright, lose outright, be in a runoff. Like, it truly just was a roller coaster of emotions because it depended on who I saw that day.
Right.
And so the first election came and I was in the lead, and it was just one of those, like, what you're doing is great because you never know if what you're doing is working.
That's right.
Right?
Right, yeah.
And so we just went back out there again and just continued to do what we were doing before and ramped it up. And, I'm lucky that I had, like I told you before, it was my biggest fear was having an ugly campaign because that's not my personality.
Right. It's not your style.
It's not my style. And, my goal was to leave that campaign with more friends than what I started.
Yeah.
And I did. I truly did. Our Gerald Judice and his wife, we now are going to be forever friends with them. They just, in our runoff, we love to joke around that we had the friendliest runoff in history because you spend so much time with these people.
Sure.
And Carol as well.
We different groups that you visit.
Right.
Yeah.
And your spouses sit together and, at this empty arena while you're doing your debates, or these meetings, they're there with you, when they probably are thinking they have a million other things they need to be doing. But, you grow so close because you're both going through that unique experience together. And so I was so lucky to go through it with them. It could, especially there were some very ugly campaigns during our time.
That's correct.
That we just sat back. No one talked about our race because it was such a clean and friendly race that there was nothing to talk about. We were we were all great people.
That's right. Because you all chose, hey, we're going to make this about the people and working as part of the election.
Right. So, it was a great experience for me. It really was. I couldn't have asked for better.
When you took the oath of office.
Oh,
wow. So at that point, did the nerves kick into overdrive, or did you kind of feel at that point, I've got nerves of steel?
I think it was emotional for me that it's such I take it as such a huge responsibility and an honor to represent these people. So it was for me the excitement of the hard work that everyone had done to this moment of here we are and how seriously I take all this. So just being a part of that, and the ceremony was so beautiful, so well done. Yeah. So it was just it was such a great moment. Then having a lot of people from my team, my family, my in-laws, everyone was there just to be there as part of it because they were a part of it.
All right. When we return, we're going to talk a little bit more about being a woman on the Lafayette City Parish Council, because before that, there was Michelle Ezel, but she was in an interim capacity. Now we have this new council coming in. We have Liz Webb Hebert. We have Nanette Cook. There was a lot of discussion about how do we change it up, the female voice, all of that coming onto this council. And so we'll get into maybe some of those stereotypes. We'll talk about it on the way. We are joined by Liz Webb Hebert this morning, District 8 Councilwoman on the Lafayette City Parish Council. So we have talked about a variety of different issues related to you and growing up and Karen Crow and then moving to Lafayette, finding Mr. Wonderful Aaron, and taking this leap and this big bound to decide, okay, I'm going to run for office, winning your election, and now actually to representing your constituents. One thing I found super refreshing about you, Liz, from the very beginning is you and one of the school board members that we know constantly, anytime we call, and for that matter of fact, a lot of folks that are representing us, whether it's school board or Lafayette City Parish Council, being very reactive to constituents and I think to media calls.
Of course.
Is it, you say of course, but is it because you're part of that new crop of elected officials, do you think? Your world has incorporated, much as mine has, social media. So people are looking for an answer. And instead of their answer coming in a couple of days when you return a telephone call, it may be at that moment where they're really wanting something to be answered. Tell me what it was about you and wanting to serve in this capacity that you said, I'm going to return these calls. I'm going to connect with people as much as possible and always return calls, messages, etc.
Well, I think, a lot of people, I knew this beforehand, because people don't know who their council member is. Sure. They don't know who to call if there's a dead animal on the side. Right. They don't know, or if they have issues or whatever it is, they don't know who to call. So they're frustrated. Then they forget about it because face it, we're busy every day, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And so the frustration builds because then that thing comes up again and they go, oh, it still hasn't been handled. And so they get so mad because no one's doing anything. And it's not because we're not doing anything because we just don't know about it. I can't fix what I don't know. And as far as, us doing something different, I think this is just we all now live in a generation of, we have 24-hour news cycles now.
That's right.
It's immediate need for information. You can't wait a day, right? And so I think this is a new thing that's kind of coming up, especially for local government. So it's not that anyone has just not been doing it because they don't want to. They just never had to do it. And I think we just, in my marketing background, I think I appreciate the need and know of people needing to have an answer now, whether it's what time that restaurant opens or, and so I see that, and so that's why I have a personal rule for myself to return phone calls and emails within 24 hours. Because people need that answer for whatever reason. And on social media, I'm very, very active, as you know, whether it's Facebook, Twitter. I'm in every single neighborhood's Facebook group, private group. That way, they don't have to worry about trying to call a number. They can just tag me in the post and say, is trash being picked up today? Or what about this? Or can you answer this question? And oftentimes it's just they didn't realize that we're already working on it, or I didn't know this was an issue. And so we're able to just solve the problem right then and there. And so there's this, oh, thank God,
that someone is paying attention and can help.
Right. But it's just an immediate answer rather than someone has always been willing to help. It just wasn't. They never called it in, so we didn't know it was a problem in your neighborhood because we can't be everywhere. We have large districts, so I can certainly try and solve the problem as long as I know about it.
How do you think about stereotypes? Because I think in the media, we did make a big deal about it in the sense that, hey, we finally have two ladies on the council. Yeah. Will it make it different? Were there some stereotypes of, that's a bunch of big burly men.
Yeah, big burly men, my sweet councilman.
I was going to say, they all seem pretty much so super sweet and easygoing.
They're great. I can't say enough good things. I can't say enough good things about my fellow councilmen.
Yeah, so really, stereotypes just kind of ended up falling by the wayside, don't you think?
I think so. I think so. I guess never have this feeling of that I'm treated any differently as a woman, or at least I'm not. Maybe I don't see it. But
we don't have time for that, right?
Yeah, but I guess, I guess that's the way I grew up is, again, with 4 older brothers, it was, you can't just act like a girl. You need to go do it.
That's right.
You're better than them. You're good as them. Go, So I guess I've always gone into life like that, I guess, that doesn't mean I can't do it. So I am lucky to have Nanette Cook as my partner in crime, though. It's not just that she's a female, but that she's an incredible woman, right? Yes. There's a lot of women out there that maybe aren't as, willing to work with you or as inspired or as hardworking or as truly care about their constituents like Nanette. So it's not just saying because she's a woman, because she is an incredible woman and really cares about her people and works hard.
Tell me, I'm very curious, what would be one of the greatest questions that anyone ever had for you? Whether they sent it via Facebook or tagged you, and what's one of the wackiest things?
Oh God.
I don't want to, I understand, you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but I've got to believe that you get the same kind of telephone calls that, people just, when you don't know, you don't know.
Yeah.
And
I guess the funniest, and this didn't happen to me directly, is someone called in wanting to know why they're paying alimony to the city and they were never married to the city. General alimony,
yes.
And so it's
terminologies and terms,
right?
And
so I guess that's the funniest thing I guess I've heard. But no, I really don't get anything super wacky. Honestly, they're all very honest and good questions. I really can't. There's none on the top of my head. Maybe I just don't get the wacky ones. But no, I mean it's just true, honest. They just want to know.
But I'm sure people also do, express their frustration.
Oh,
though,
absolutely.
Right?
And look, and I want that. I do not want anybody to sit on something.
That's what I think is so amazing about you is that, and the other council members too.
Yeah, of course.
I feel as if you guys actually care about the fact that people are frustrated about something.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
I want to know. I can't fix it if I don't know about it, and people are so sweet and so kind because they say, I'm so sorry to bother you. I'm like, this is my job. I want you to bother me. So, no, I mean, I want people to call me, and I don't want them to get to the point of frustration before they call me.
Right.
Call me immediately, email me, Facebook me, Twitter me, tweet
anything,
me or
just
whatever.
Contact me.
Fine. I'm not hard to find.
Right.
I think one guy LinkedIn me. And bless his heart. But I want to know. I want to. I can't give you maybe the answer you want.
Right.
But I can give you an answer.
Right.
We can find it out together.
That's right. And because you're not. It's not. Unfortunately, you can't know every single aspect of everything, and that's why we have department heads and people that work for our local government.
Right.
Let me ask you this about being frustrated yourself as a council person. Are there a lot of misconceptions or maybe a few big misconceptions? A lot of people, it's easy to take a hit at government.
Sure.
Why can't we cut taxes? Why can't we fix our roads and bridges? And where's the money? And frustration, and that can come out.
Right.
That's probably got to take a toll on you a little bit, I would imagine, as a councilwoman, because you're there day to day asking for the answers to these questions.
Right. I wish just people who were frustrated and wanting to know where the money is. I mean, it's out there. We are as transparent can be. I think I could speak for all my fellow council members when I say all you have to do is call and ask.
Yeah.
They will tell you. I mean, it's truly, people say make cuts. We've made cuts. We've, Mayor Robideau being the CPA he is, first year before we ever saw the budget, he cut it by 15%. And the next year, I think he did it another 10%. So, I mean, he has done that, but people don't know, and I don't know whether it just wasn't reported or maybe he didn't share that information or I don't know. I guess I just know it because I'm in this role.
In that realm.
Right.
I definitely think, we should definitely look for it, talk about it more.
Absolutely.
Right?
And I think that's why I want to do things like this or do, I come on KPEL often. Anytime y'all call, I can never say no to you, Bernie.
Thanks. Right.
People say, behind these behind the scenes meetings, or closed door meetings, back room, but that's not it. I mean, as you know, and you guys talk all the time about our budget meetings are televised, our meetings are televised.
And while people, there's no way to actually get a count on who's watching from home, let's say, right? But during the middle of the summer when the meetings, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter if the meetings are during the day or in the evening.
Right.
People really don't show up to budget meetings.
Yeah, they used to have them always.
Be intimidating.
Yeah, they used to always have the budget meetings at like 2:00 in the years ago, and then people complained saying you're doing it while we're at work. So
how can we go?
So then they changed it again to 5:30 in the afternoons. People could come. Keep in mind we're paying overtime for people. We're paying for security to be there. We're paying for so a lot of extra money's being spent so we could do this. But then no one showed.
Yeah. And it's frustrating.
Right. And so, trying to be good stewards of the money, we went back to the 2:00. Yeah. But again, you can always email your council member if you can't make it and ask these questions. And
in fact, let's point this out because you were telling me when we were getting started, and this is not the first time you and I have had a conversation about this. You're going to be taking one of your constituents on a tour.
Right. Oh, I do that all the time. But I think what you're mentioning is someone on Facebook mentioned to me that they would love to just look at our budget and make some suggestions. And I said, well, when are you available? Let's do it. Because I'm certainly open to any suggestions of any cuts and any kind of, I'm by no means the expert. None of us are, and sometimes it takes someone from the outside to come in and go, What about this?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and how can we? Or I could think we could do it better this way. I mean,
right?
If we had thought of all of the ideas, we'd have probably done it already.
Right. You know, and I don't know if there's a city that's ever figured it out, right? But Councilman Boudreaux says it best: is, you know, we're so quick to want to make cuts to things we don't use.
Right.
Right.
Sure. It doesn't impact us, so
right.
we don't.
And so he always says, you know, you want me to make cuts. Tell me something you use that you wouldn't mind cutting.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's beautiful. That's such a, you know, we're so quick to maybe say things that we don't use, to say get rid of it. But someone uses it because it's there, right?
It is. It's there.
But you know, budget season's coming up, and I know y'all do such a great job of
we
sharing it. You know,
we try to let people know when the meetings are and how they can participate.
Right. And you know, I send out a monthly newsletter every month. You know, I've told you all about that, and I invite people to sign up to receive it. It's once a month, recapping the month, keeping you guys informed on what's coming up or what I think you need to know, fun facts I've learned, you know, since being in this position. That way, and then the budget, you know, I share, this is what's coming up, this is the dates of each one. They're divided up by department. That way you don't have to sit through all of them at once.
Yeah, maybe I'm not interested in
right.
this, but,
you know, but I'm interested
really
in this, you know.
Or,
I do my best to get the information out there, you know.
All right, when we return, we're going to tackle cultural economy and taxes and philosophies and we're going to kind of delve into it and kind of get some of your thoughts on all of those issues, too. Liz Webb Hebert has been joining us this morning, so we've got more on the way. I want to thank you for participating in this. I try to get people in to share a little bit about who they are and where they're from, and also talk about, you know, how we relate to one another as part of our community. Everybody's got a stake in it.
Sure.
You know, we're all here. A lot of discussion has centered around cultural economy. The Create initiative, there's been a lot of discussion about that. Tell me, from your perspective, what you would hope that we could do to use what is wonderful about our community, what's already part of our community, to hopefully attract more individuals and businesses to this area.
Sure. I think it's not just as important to bring people here, it's to keep people here.
Yeah.
You know, like I joked around earlier that I ran away to college, you know, because I felt here there was nothing for me. Right. And I get, you know, every kid, and no matter where they live, you know, kids in LA and New York maybe feel that there's nothing there for them. They want to leave, right? And you got to go spread your wings. But I want Lafayette to be a place where maybe you want to leave or maybe you don't. Like, we are so great, you don't want to leave. You want to go to this incredible college we have here in our own backyard.
Absolutely.
Or, you know, you want to maybe go away because you have that scholarship at such and such, but you cannot wait to come home to Lafayette because there's nothing else there. You know, and you see it now. I mean, my friends who disappeared and went to these incredible places, whether it's Austin, LA, New York, they're back and they're opening businesses here, you know. And so that says something about our community. You know, I was in charge of the junior leadership program, and so many of them were ready to leave Lafayette. And so we started this discussion of what is Lafayette missing that will keep you here. They said things to do and a more fun culture.
That's right. They want more activities. Give us something else to do. And, and we want it to be a part of it. So how do we make that happen?
Right. You know, I think it's a combination. Government can be all things to all people. I believe that, but I think government can certainly assist in being a part of that. You know, I'm a big believer in private-public partnerships. Big believer in that. Because we have such a generous community, like, you know, I'm doing the Adopt a Stop bus stop program.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah, you know, because, you know, government we can't, with the budget we have, we can only afford 10 bus stops a year. And we have, I think, almost 600 to cover. So we wouldn't cover them all until 2070.
Yeah, I mean, think about that.
Right.
That's crazy.
Right. And so, you know, but there's such generous people in this community and businesses that are stepping up and saying, I'll write a check. I just want to keep people covered, you know, even if, like, I don't use it, but I don't want to see somebody standing in the rain.
No, it's heartbreaking.
It is. It breaks my heart. And so no, we definitely need to get things like that taken care of each other. But I mean, Bernie, what's your thoughts on cultural economy? Like, you're a part of this community.
I agree with the younger people that, we need to have more to do. Right. And I think, you know, it's exciting because we're seeing more development in the downtown area. Right. I think that is super exciting. Right. And I think really bringing this idea of it's not just festivals. That's part of who we are,
right?
Right? But we're building this first-class park.
Right.
You know, Munkus Park is going to be the seat of so many fun activities for the city of Lafayette.
Agreed.
You know, I wish for us that we would continue on working in the IT direction, because there's been a lot of movement in that area.
Right.
You know,
right.
So that some of these individuals who have gone, everybody goes to Dallas or they go to Austin or, the only place I really can do movies is LA. Well, not really.
Not really.
You know, we're really working so hard to foster even more employment here and more development.
Right.
Is it that people, though, I know that government can't do everything.
You're right.
But is it that people don't feel as if they want to put taxes towards that? Or do they think, okay, we need more fire protection first? What kind of feedback do you get? I know you get tons. I'm kind of curious about
It's all over. You know, I think
all over the map.
It's all over the map. You know, so I've got to take the feedback I get from constituents and say, okay, what's the right thing to do? And it's a case-by-case basis. It really is. You know, I've got people who say, don't put $1 to it. And I've got people saying, no, this is the right thing to do because you get the return on your investment. So my constituents are kind of everywhere on that topic. So, you know, I've got to respect that. And because I'm representing everyone, not just the group that I want to represent, you know.
True. I mean, that's very true.
Right.
Yeah. So do you think people understand, though, how taxes are used, and do they trust government? We hear so much discussion about all of that, right?
Yeah, we do. And I think there's certainly people who don't trust government, you know, and I hope that there's some people in there that maybe I can influence and help guide them to, at least local, right? I can't change their mind about federal or state, but I can be that person that says, my door's wide open.
Yeah, like you're taking this other person. Hey, let's go look at the budget.
I want you to tell me what your suggestions are, and I'm the books are open. My door is open. Let's do it. You know, I bring you on my journey, and you can show me and tell me. But there's people I think I'm never going to convince, and that's okay. You know, but all I can do is work hard, do everything I can to show people that local government is here to be good stewards of your money, you know, and we may not all agree. My sweet husband and I don't agree all the time, you know, but that's okay, you know, and I think all I can do in my time in local government is show people the best that I can. And those who want to listen will listen. And there have been people that have said, you know, I've never trusted a local official till now. So, you know, it's working. You know, me being as a transparent and approachable and accessible as I am, I think it's starting to show people that, okay, I can call her.
Yeah, that I can actually have.
I can speak to her.
A conversation with her.
Absolutely.
And she'll be reactive to what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
Maybe she gives me an answer and I don't necessarily like the answer.
Right.
But I've received an answer.
Right. You know, we may disagree on this, but we agree on another topic, you know, and that's healthy.
As we're starting to wrap up with our time today, and I love that you've been so candid about everything, would you change anything about deciding to run for office? You know, if you talk to yourself before that, you know, right before, okay, now I'm in a runoff election, would you go back? Would you change it?
No, absolutely not. This experience has been better than I could have ever thought it would be.
Okay.
I love it more than I thought I would. It's funner than I thought it would be. The people are nicer and kinder than I thought they would be. You know, everyone, my constituents are just so thoughtful, so kind, so nice. So no, it's an even better experience than what I thought it was.
Do you think there will be another governmental experience that you would want to have? AKA, what I'm asking is, girl, you gonna run for something else later on, maybe?
You know, I love making my community better. That's because this is something that I can directly change. The wheels of local government move faster than state and federal ever will. You know, I love seeing somebody at the grocery store and them saying, that pothole's always bothered me, and I can fix it.
Right. It can actually get done.
It can get repaired in 1 to 2 days, you know. I love the idea of making my community that I see day in, day out better. So I love that. I don't think I could ever get that at a state or federal level. You know, I think you could probably make a bigger impact, but it takes a lot longer. But the topics at those levels don't excite me the way roads, bridges, and drainage excite me.
Uh-huh.
So, and then I can do my projects here, whether it's the Adopt a Stop or the Safe Exchange location or, trying to get plastics recycled, all of them,
Which would be so wonderful.
Well, we have all of them now, all the plastics. We're working on glass.
Now we just need to turn them, though, into the plastics into roads.
Oh, gosh.
Like they do in Britain.
Right.
Is that how it works? I saw
they allegedly do. I don't know.
I haven't investigated it either.
Well, if it's on Facebook, it's got to be true.
It's got to be true,
It's
right?
got to be true. So, I love my local community. So I think that's probably the most exciting part. So, so I don't foresee that happening.
Okay. She's honest. She's open, and you can always get in touch with her. She'll call you back.
Call me.
She'll send you a Facebook message.
Yes.
She'll be able to send you a copy of her newsletter.
Yes.
Liz Webb Hebert has been our guest. I want to thank you so much for
Thanks,
your time.
Bernie. Thanks.
I appreciate
Anytime.
it.
Thank you for having me.